Hi, folks. Have you ever had this wrestling match take place in your life? This is sort of a redundant question, by the way. Pain wrestling with your faith. Faith wrestling with your pain. I don't know about you, but that seems to be an ongoing struggle in my life. Because we go through loss and we go through things in life that are deeply challenging, and the pain of those things, if they come to be in charge, are not going to lead you in a good direction. So we want to talk about this because this is a wrestling match that all of us know as believers, and that our faith needs to actually be the one winning this wrestling match. Absolutely. For very good reasons. Yeah. But this is a common wrestling match. We see it in Peter, right? We see it in Judas. Yeah. We see it in the two thieves. Yeah. This wrestling match going on between their pain, right, and faith.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think, sorry, go ahead, Faith.
Oh, it's okay. I was just thinking a little bit about my past life and pain that I've had for an extended period of time, years. And we had talked about the path that leads us on when we let that pain be in the driver's seat. And like all it did was lead me to deep resentments, bitterness, hard-heartedness, and no matter what challenging thing I went through, that was the lens that was on my eyes, right? That's kind of what I saw it through, was that pain that I packed around in my heart. And I just think that it is a dangerous territory and a dangerous thing to pack around, because like I said, it just builds up that resentment, bitterness, all of those things that are so unhealthy.
But pain is a part of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can't actually work at stopping the pain.
Totally, yeah.
But it's about whether it's got the wheel or not.
Absolutely.
And the wrestling match, if there's a wrestling match, and it sounds like there was, well, there certainly it came.
Yep.
The wrestling match is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it tells you that you are not just
letting it
caving in to the pain, and there's no wrestle going on, you know.
And I think, one thing I try to remind the kids when I'm teaching them is, when you become a Christian, it doesn't just mean that life is going to be easy. It is going to be tough. It might be tougher in some ways. It means that you've got a sovereign God who is going to walk with you through it. But I think when people get into Christianity and then are sometimes surprised that there's still so much pain, that it really can be tempting to let it take over. Yeah. But, becoming a Christian is not the exclusion of pain. There can be a lot of pain in the consequences of dealing with our sin, or pain just because we live in a sinful world.
And pain is not the problem.
No.
It's that we would not bring in the challenge to its control.
That's right.
It's when it hooks up with that control, right?
Yes.
And it's going to control my life. It's going to control my heart.
Absolutely.
Right? And you referred to that in your story. And when I don't challenge it with faith, when I don't wrestle my pains, my pains are going to lead me into disobediences and conditions of heart that are very sinful.
Absolutely.
And can separate me from strength and separate me from good things. So it's in that control, right?
Exactly, yes. It's very possible to go through life's deepest pains with faith and trust in control. And you're able to walk through it each day, sometimes each moment, giving the control to God and then allowing Him to use it for something beautiful. And we see some wonderful examples in the Bible of this, including the thieves. The thief on the one side, all he could see his pain through was the lens of pain. He couldn't apply faith to it, and so he suffered the ultimate death. The thief on the other side brought faith to it, and he found paradise in that day, in that very day. He could apply faith even though he was in the most horrendous pain, and his reward was paradise.
Yeah, and I think when we do apply faith to it, then we have what we need to focus on what's left in our life, not necessarily what has just been lost, but what do we still have?
That's the key.
How does God still want to use us in our life? Yeah.
That's exactly it. Faith. Faith is going to bring you to this where your focus can now go to what is left. How many movies have I watched where, you've got the one parent that loses a child and they just can't, get beyond the pain of that. They don't wrestle the pain even.
Yeah.
So now 3 other kids they can easily ignore because the pain is focused here. It's not the pain that's the problem, it's that they're not wrestling with it.
Yes.
They're not taking something that's stronger like faith. So we're not saying the existence of pain is the problem.
Right.
No. It's that it's in charge. And even faith will not erase its existence. It only makes sure it's not in control. By the way, this goes for anger.
Yeah.
This goes for lust.
Yes.
This goes for when these things want to wrestle you, and take control, and your faith isn't going to fight back.
Right.
It's going to take you into some bad places.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it can only lead to disobedience. We have to apply faith to these things, and that's not easy, And we again to go back to David, but we see that in this David story. The pain wasn't gone. He applied faith to it, and from this, they were able to bear Solomon. Which man, we needed Solomon in that story. So, in order to step forward, to keep moving forward, we need to have that lens of focusing on what is left, cherishing that, trusting God with it, letting Him use it so we can keep stepping forward, leaving the past where it belongs, and moving forward.
Sometimes you get tired in the wrestle with pain, right? Because pain is persistent.
Yes.
But this is where, and people that have gone through great losses and they've walked with Christ, they will hear similar storylines. There was a sweetness that came in the pain.
Yeah.
And that sweetness didn't come because pain brought it.
That's right.
That sweetness came into the pain because faith brought it.
Yeah.
And why does faith do this? Because the Bible makes it very plain that whatever's not of faith is sin, Romans 14. So whatever's not of faith is sin.
Yeah.
So he's saying like this, that everything must be contained within your faith. Faith is your first and your biggest response to everything in life, good, bad, or otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to go to faith on this.
Absolutely.
And when pain comes, and we're talking now about a couple guys that failed, and then the thieves, and all this we've been focusing on. You got to look at life bigger than the picture that pain is going to want to paint.
Yes.
Pain's really easy to paint, by the way. It's always dark colors. Have you noticed that?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Look at Abraham, the picture that could have been painted there, like when God asked him to be so obedient and so willing to do something that I don't know if I could have done, and there had to have been a lot of pain there, on the walk and tying his son up, and his son asking the question, well, where is the sacrifice? There would have to be pain there, but he applied faith in his God and trust in his God, and look at the outcome of it. It was amazing.
That's a faith that scares me.
Yeah.
No, I'm being very sincere with that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That is a faith that actually scares me because it's so, how can I say, blatantly obedient to the utmost cost. And in fact, it's not loss coming to Abraham, it's Abraham being used to create loss.
Yes. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I've never thought of it like that.
For himself.
That's
Yes.
crazy.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, Lord, big ask.
That's such a challenge.
And he went with it.
He did.
And because of that, his obedience, though, God says, now I know you will withhold nothing from me.
Yeah.
Nothing. Then he uses him as the father of faith for all the generations to follow.
Yeah. There had to be a big ask involved for him to be the man who could do what God did through him.
So when I think of my losses,
Yeah.
right, and when you lose, you didn't bring that loss.
Right.
That loss came to you. How would you like to be on the model of maybe
Where you are
losing that?
choosing, yeah.
And another thing I think we'll want to bring up, just as we getting close to the close on this, but pain never builds a future.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It doesn't. It needs to be there. You don't deny pain.
That's right.
Its existence is real. You just bring faith, and faith will lead pain. It's going to take the reins of pain And it will exist, but it will turn it into strengths.
Absolutely.
Your compassion will be deeper. Your understanding will be deeper, not your bitterness, not your resentment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I was just talking to someone on the weekend, and her dear friend just got a very bitter diagnosis. But she said she is a woman of faith, and to talk to her, everything is, so positive, and her heart is just like shining through everything she says. Her faith in God is just a beautiful example to her children and her husband and to me as I talk to her. And, she's not bitter. She's not, it's not that she's not feeling the pain of what is happening, but God is just working through it, and it is a light.
It is. It brings
Amazing.
peace, and it brings those things that are so important. We know that you're experiencing pain because this is a part of life. We all go through this, not once or twice. It just seems to sometimes just be so regular. Little things, big things. One of the key things with pain is don't deny it. Please never deny pain. On the other hand, don't give it the reins.
Yeah.
Keep faith in charge. And you're going to find that as faith is in charge, it's able to not eradicate all pain from your life, but to take it and turn it into a softer heart, a stronger heart, into things that only God can morph these kinds of things into. But he will. But he needs you to keep the reins of faith and trust him. No matter how severe the loss, no matter how deep this runs, you really only got one shepherd to go to.
Yeah.
And it's Jesus. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want even pain. God bless.